All right, sixth graders, taking a look at our Chapter 6 study guide, focusing majority on expressions. The start majority of this first page is exponents. So diving into number 1, we are looking at writing each product using an exponent. So if we have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, that means there are 4 3's. So we will take our 3 and put it to the 4th power. Those are equivalent. Looking at number 2, it is 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. Remember the parentheses still mean multiplication. They stand in place of an X or the dot meaning multiply. So there are 6 7's here, so we're just going to write 7 to the 6th power. Number 3, we have 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. So we'll write our 2/3, that's the thing being multiplied, right? And we will raise that to the 3rd power because there are 3 of them. Sometimes you might see this written in parentheses like that, just to show that separation between the exponent and the fraction, but either way is correct. Number 4, we are looking at 2/5, and because there are only 2 of them, we're going to raise it to the 2nd power. Number 5, we have 0.25 times itself a total of 6 times. So we're going to raise it to the 6th power. Again, if you're confused, the reason is to the 6th power is because we have 6 of them being multiplied together. Okay? That means it will be raised to the 6th power. Number 6, we have 0.32 being multiplied 4 times. Just like the last one, instead of 6 times, it's being multiplied 4 times. 4. For 7 through 10, we are taking the given exponent and we are going to write each power as a product of the same factor. So the same factor is 5 times 5 times 5, right? It's to the 3rd power. The next step of 7 through 10 is finding the value. So they're asking you to actually do the multiplication. So we're going to take 5 times 5, and that is 25. And then if you're going to take 25 times the next 5, and one way I like to look at this is using money as an example. So if you have 25, that is equal to a quarter, right? 25 cents. If you have 5 quarters, you're going to be at $1.25. So 125. Look at number 8. We have 4 to the 1st power. So it's just going to be a 4 by itself. The value is just going to be 4, right? Next one, number 9. We have 2/3 to the 2nd power. So we're going to multiply 2/3 by 2/3. And the way we can multiply this is when we're multiplying fractions, we just do top times top and bottom times bottom. So if we do 2 times 2, we will have 4. That's our top. If we do 3 times 3 for our bottom, we will end up at 9. 4/9 is our value over on the right. Looking at number 10, 1/4 to the 5th power. 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4, right? So, excuse the bad handwriting, but we have 5 1/4. And when you multiply all these, you're gonna end up at 1, because the ones in the denominator stay, or in the numerator stay the same, but then you're gonna end up at 1024 for your denominator. Big number. It's okay if you couldn't do that one in your head. But that is the exponent section. Take a look how you did. Correct anything that needs to be corrected. Looking at the next section, we are finding values of each expression. So, we are using order of operations. We are, look at number 11. 3 plus 11 is 14. And you subtract 9, you're going to be at 5. That is your answer. Remember, order of operations, you're thinking PEMDAS. One way we remember that is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay? Looking at number 12. Here we have multiplication, so that's got to come before the subtraction. So 8 times 6 is going to be 48. And then we have 13 minus 48. Bring down that 13 and the subtraction sign. 13 minus 48 is going to be negative 35. Looking at the next page, we are still using order of operations and still solving or evaluating expressions. So we have parentheses in this one, so we'll take care of those first. 7 plus 2 is going to be 9. And then we'll have 9 times 3 minus 2. 9 times 3 is 27, minus 2 is 25. Number 14. Let's take a look at our parentheses over here. This parentheses just means multiply. So we're going to do the parentheses on the right side first. So 26 minus 21 is going to be 5. Okay. Then we can do our multiplication on the left. 3 times 7 is going to be 21. So we get 21 plus 5, and you're going to end up at 26. Taking a look at 15. Still doing the same thing, just adding a couple more terms or numbers. 2 to the 4th power is our exponent, so we're going to do that first since there's no parentheses. 2 to the 4th power is going to end up at 16. So you got 16 minus 12 divided by 2. So we're going to do our division first here because of order of operations. 12 divided by 2 is going to be 6. So I have 16 minus 6 is 10. Number 16, 5 plus 4 times the quantity of 2 plus 7 divided by 2. We'll take a look at our parentheses first here. 2 plus 7 is going to be 9. Then we can carry the rest down. 5 plus 4 times 9 divided by 2. So we're going to work left to right with our multiplication and division. So 4 times 9 is going to come first. That's going to give us 36. Bring the rest down. 5 plus 36 divided by 2. We're going to do that division first. 36 divided by 2 is 18. So we have 5 plus 18, which is going to give us 23. Then we're taking a look at 17 here. Another one that could be a little tricky because of parentheses and exponents. So let's break it down. We're going to start with the first parentheses over on the left. And we have 3 to the second power as an exponent, so we have to do that before we can add anything. So let's do 3 to the second power is going to be 9. Then if we add that with the 2, right? Add that with the 2, you're going to get 11 in that parentheses. Okay. Then looking at the next parentheses over on the right, 3 to the third power is going to be 27. 27 minus 19 is going to give us 8. Okay. So now we have 11 as the value of that first parentheses, 8 as the value of the next, and divided by 4 at the end. So now we're working left to right. 11 times 8 is going to be 88. And then we can divide that by 4 to get 22 as our answer. Number 18, we're looking at 4 squared plus 18 minus 8 times 2. First thing we're going to do here is our exponent. 4 squared, or 4 to the second power, is going to give us 16. 16 plus 18 minus 8 times 2. So we're going to do our multiplication first to get 16. 8 times 2 is 16. So we have 16 plus 18 minus 16. Well, if we want to look at it using the commutative property, we can switch these around and see that a minus 16 and a positive 16 over here are going to cancel out. So we are left with just our 18 as our answer. If you worked left to right, instead of doing that, you would have gotten 16 plus 18 is 34. And then when you did your 34 minus 16, you would have ended up at 18. Looking at the next section, 19 through 26, we are looking at the plug and chug, where we have variables that represent numbers, and we just have to plug them in and solve or evaluate. So if we put in our 3/8 for n, it'll be 6 plus 3/8. When you add 6 and 3/8, that's what you get, 6 and 3/8. We can check this by adding them as fractions. So we could do 6 over 1 plus 3 over 8. And when we do that, we have to find a common denominator for this one on the left. So we're going to multiply those both by 8 to get an 8 on the denominator. And that would mean we would get 48 over 8. So 48 over 8 plus 3 over 8 is going to give us 51 over 8. When you change 6 and 3/8 from a mixed number to an improper fraction, you will find that you can get 51 over 8. So either of these answers are correct. Looking at number 20 then, x equals 12 and y equals 1/3. So we're going to multiply those. When the two letters are right next to each other like that, that means multiply. So 12 times 1/3, we cannot just put them next to each other and call it 12 and 1/3 because it's multiplying. So if you multiply 12 times 1/3, you're going to put 12 over 1 and multiply it by 1/3. top times top. So 12 times 1 is going to be 12. 1 times 3 is going to be 3. Simplified down, you can get 4. Taking a look at 21 now. We have 3m plus 5. We are going to plug in 2/3 for m. So we're going to do 3 times 2/3 plus 5. 3 times 2/3 is going to be 2. And then you're going to add that 5 to get 7. Next, looking at 22, we have x equals 8. So we're going to plug 8 in for our x. And we'll do our parentheses first. So 8 minus 2 is going to be 6. And then we have that 5 at the end. So bring that down. And it will give us 11. Next, looking at 23. Sub in 3 for n. So 3 is going to be to the second power. And then we're going to subtract a 5. 3 to the second power is going to be 9 minus our 5 is going to give us 4. Number 24, we're going to plug in a 4 for the x, and that'll give us 4 squared minus 8 in our parentheses, and 3 will be outside. 4 squared will be 16, and we're going to minus that 8 to get 8. Then we'll have 3 times 8. And that'll give us 24. Looking at number 25 then, we have 3 times m times n. So we're going to plug in our 4 and our 7 to make it 3 times 4 times 7. 3 times 4 is going to be 12. And then when you multiply 12 times 7, you're going to get 84. Number 26, we're looking at m to the third power minus p. So we're going to take 3, which is our m, to the third power. And then we'll subtract 1/2 from it. So if we have 3 to the third power, it's going to be 27 minus 1/2. When you subtract 1/2 of a number from 27, you're going to end up at 26 1/2. 26 1/2. You can write it as 26.5 if you'd like as well. And that will conclude the second page of your study guide. Looking at page 3 of our study guide, starting with 27, it says write each phrase as an algebraic expression for the directions. 27 says the quotient of a number and 4. Quotient is a word meaning divide, so we will divide a number and 4. Because we do not know what the number is, we are going to use a variable. Today I will use p. P divided by 4. This is the way to write the quotient of a number and 4. P is representing a number that we do not know. Looking at 28, we're looking at a number times 6. We do not know what the number is, so we'll use our variable, which is p, and we will multiply it times 6. Another way to show this would be by writing 6p. Number 29, we're looking at 2 more than 4 times a number. So, if we have 4 times a number, we will represent it by 4p. 2 more than 4 times a number, we will add 2. Because of order of operations, we don't have to show any parentheses here because 4p will come first. Number 30, 5 less than a number divided by 8. So we have a number divided by 8. P is divided by 8. And then we have 5 less than that number. So we're going to subtract 5. Number 31, we have 2 less than 4 times a number. So if we have 4 times a number, and then we have 2 less than that, we have 4p minus 2. Number 32, if we have 7 less than 1/2 of a number, we have to start with our 1/2 p, and then we will subtract our 7 at the end. Looking at our next section, we will be distributing. Remember, distributing, we are going to be multiplying over the parentheses. So we have our little swooshes that we do. Some people call them rainbows, whatever works best for you. So if we distribute, we're going to have 8x plus 56, and that's what it'll be left at. Number 42, if we do our 5 times 12, that's going to give us 60, and then 5 times x will be 5x. So it ends up 60 plus 5x. Number 43 is going to be 3x. Bring our minus down. 3 times 5 is 15. Number 44, 3 times 3x will give us 9x. 3 times 8 will give us 24. Number 45, 5 times 3x will give us 15x. And 5 times 6x will give us 30x. Because these are like terms, we can actually simplify if we want. If you did not, that's okay. Otherwise, you would have ended up with 45x. Number 46, we do 4 times 2x to get 8x. And then we subtract our 4 times 5y, which is 20. For the last page, we are doing factoring for the first 8 questions. Looking at the first 2, more of just practice of trying to find a factor. So if you're pulling out a factor of 27 and 12, you're going to pull out a 3, and that leaves you with a 9 and 4. Number 50 then, you're going to pull out a 12 from both, and you'll be left with 1 minus 3. So those first 2 just kind of work on being able to identify a factor and then show how to. Looking at number 51, we can take a 2 out from 18 and 20, and that will leave us with a 9 and 10y. Don't forget that y when you put back what you have left. Number 52, we're going to take out a 4 and be left with x plus 2. Number 53, we will be looking at 30n minus 18x, and we can take a 6 from both of these. So we're going to take out a 6, and we'll be left with a 5n minus 3x. Number 54, we can pull out a 7 from both, 42 and 49, and that will be left with a 6 and a 7x. Number 55, we can pull out a 12 from both sides, or from both 24 and 12, and that will give us 1x left and 2y left. Number 56, we can pull out a 7 from both, and that will be left with a 5m minus 9n. Taking a look at that section, remember this is called factoring, or you've also heard it called reverse distributing. Remember, we are trying to take a factor from both numbers or terms and write it in a way where we can then distribute to get back to where we were. Hence why it is called reverse distributing or factoring. On to the next section, we are simplifying, and this section focuses more on combining like terms. So in number 57, we have two like terms. We have coefficients that carry an x. So we can combine 2 and 3 x's to get 5x, and then our 4 is going to stay alone because there's nothing else that it can combine with. Those are not like terms, so that is what we're going to leave it as. Looking at number 58, we will see that we have more like terms that we can combine. Again, we have a 3x and a 2x, which can be combined to get 5x. And then the last thing remaining is our 7. We cannot combine it with 5x because 7 is alone without an x. So that is how we can simplify that expression. Looking at number 59, we are multiplying, so this is something that we can do across variables and terms. So 8 times 2x is going to give us 16x. Number 60. We have 9a plus 4b plus 3a. We have some like terms being 9a and 3a. So that will give us 12a. 4b cannot be combined with the 12a because b represents a different number than a does. So we'll just put 4b. Looking at our two-story problems, we are going to write expressions using the information that is given in the problem. So 61 says, a set of glasses includes 5 tall glasses and 3 juice glasses. Use T to represent the cost of each tall glass and J to represent the cost of each juice glass. Write and simplify an expression that represents the total cost of 4 sets of glasses. So if we have 5 tall glasses, we'll show 5T because that shows that we have 5 glasses and the T represents the cost of each glass. So we have 5 times T, and then we're going to do the same thing with our juice glasses, which is going to be 3J. The reason we are adding here is because we are trying to find the total cost of the sets of glasses. However, remember, if we look back at the end of the problem, it says 4 sets of glasses. So we have this as 1 set of glasses, but we're going to times it by 4. And if we want to times the whole thing by 4, we got to put that, what we already have, in parentheses, and then multiply the quantity of that by 4. If we simplify this, we can distribute, and we can get 4 times 5t is going to be 20t plus 4 times 3j, which is going to be 12j. So that would be our simplified expression. Looking at number 62, it says, 7 friends have similar cell phone plans. The plans each cost X amount of dollars. 3 of the 7 friends pay an extra $8 for unlimited data. Write and simplify an expression that represents the total cost of the 7 plans. So if we have 7 friends, each paying for X amount of dollars for their plan, we have 7X, or if you wrote 7 times X, that means the same thing. So that is a partial cost of the plan, but then we have 3 of the 7 friends paying an extra $8 for unlimited data. So we're going to put a plus sign because we still have more to add to the plan. And then we're going to add our 3 of our friends paying $8. So that's going to be represented by 3 times 8. So our non-simplified expression is going to be 7x plus 3 times 8. We can throw parentheses around 3 times 8, even though it's going to be done first because of order of operations. But if we were to simplify this, we would do our 3 times 8 to get 24. And because 7x and 24 are not like terms, that would be fully simplified, showing 7x plus 24. Here's the final result of the last page of the study guide.